Smart Merrow from Houston, Texas, says the show is fire, highly underrated. JoJo sucks, but is better than KG. Is that a backhanded compliment, Joe?
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, at this point, Joe, take anything you give him.
Yeah.
What? Let me see. What was that backhanded compliment Meltzer gave Disco?
Oh, where he said Disco on Keeping It 100 mentioned how wrestling should have wrestlers in the crowd or cornermen, and he said something like, "Believe it or not, the first time I heard this idea was from Glenn Gilberti." So
Of all people.
Of all people, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
And that's just it's just a brother. First of all, because I've been critical of dirt sheets in the past,
right?
They can never admit when I'm right about things. Like just flat out, just say, there always has to be like, this guy's an idiot. Brother, the dirt sheet guys still want to. They can never admit the truth, which is I know more about the business than these guys do, and I do. I know more about the business than you guys do, and that's just a harsh reality. And it's not like I'm not an analyst of the business. I do podcasts every week on it and stuff. Everything. I'm an expert in the business.
Okay, but if let's just say something. Let's say that a company wanted to do a documentary on wrestling, not how to work or nothing like that, but just the business of wrestling, and they said, we want you to recommend one or two guys. Who would you recommend to talk about our business in a documentary?
To talk about our business in a documentary?
Yeah. The business side of it.
Here's the business side. Like what do you mean? Like the numbers and stuff, everything?
Yeah. The business, the history, not wrestling matches like Austin versus this guy, but like.
If you want to talk about numbers and financial stuff, everything, probably like get a guy like Meltzer. Or
so
Meltzer,
he does know his shit because you recommend him. So he does know his shit as far
wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Okay. Meltzer does not know how to run a business, a wrestling business. Okay, I would have more knowledge of
the business side, like numbers. He's a guy that's good, that knows a lot about the inner workings of the business.
Well, he reports the number. I mean, bro, that's just actually for thing like calling them up. Hey, what are these numbers? It's stuff I'm not interested in, but it's stuff that's easily available. I know, boy, I could easily just if these financial numbers, if I had to, okay, and you asked me, hey, let's get some numbers, everything. I would probably go and call the that guy Jason Barrasso. I'd probably talk to Meltzer, and I'd call people in the business. If they didn't have the answers, then I would do my own due diligence and call people that I know and find the source of that information.
Justin
Barrasso, because those guys like follow that stuff. Okay, but like talking about when you're talking about the televised product and the work and the behind the scenes and the production and stuff, everything, I'm definitely know more about this stuff than they do. Those guys have never been in production meetings before. They just knowing the numbers. That's not. I mean, you honestly think? Okay, let me ask you a question. Would you rather do this show with Meltzer or me?
With you.
Okay. Why?
Because it's a way more entertaining show.
It's a way more entertaining show, right? And you know that we can talk about everything, right?
Right.
Okay. So there it is.
But if somebody called me and they were like, "Hey, man, we're doing a documentary on wrestling, and we want you to, recommend somebody that we can talk to," I'd probably say Meltzer, because if Vince ain't going to go on the show, I'd probably say Meltzer. Talk to Meltzer.
It depends on what they want. It depends on what they want to talk about. Like if they're going to say, well, if they were like, "Hey, you want to do a documentary? Okay, you want to talk to me? What do you guys want to talk about?"
Yeah, but if they ask me,
here's what I would say: if you want a good person to speak on a documentary, okay, if you want a guy like said, I would say call Nash and see if he wants to do it, because Kevin's is a good he speaks well, and he's an actor, and he knows he knows his shit, So I would say him.
All right. Let me see where else.
But here's the thing. Here's the gist of that though. Those guys try to throw shade at me, okay, right. And that makes them look foolish.
Right.
If you're trying to throw shade at me because I came up with a good idea for the way to produce that AEW television show, and it's a good idea, and you're trying to say like you're surprised that I came up with a good idea, that speaks more about your lack of knowledge of what I bring to the table on this. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Okay, so those guys, because they don't listen to me.
Here's what happened, bro. Here's what happened. There's once a narrative is written about you, whether it's true or not, it's hard to break it unless you start breaking it yourself. You know what I'm saying? And so there is a narrative probably in that community, indie community, whatever the fuck. What would it be called, Joe?
The
smart community.
internet wrestling community, they call it the IWC.
The term I invented, by the way. The IWC.
You invented the IWC?
Yeah, the term I invented. You didn't know that?
No.
Go back and look at my WrestleZone articles. The first article I did where I basically outlined what the internet wrestling fan is.
I like that.
First article back in 2007.
So
and everybody started using the term IWC after that, internet wrestling community.
But
I was the first one to address it.
Yeah.
I was the first person to address it, the internet wrestling fans, which is that's who we're talking about, the people that go online.
Disco. Yes. Bro, those were such great times because I know we've said this before, but it always pops me because I was on there, I think, right before you, right?
And what's that guy's name? Chris, what's his name? The skinny kid that did Chris something. He was the host of our show.
Is he still around?
I'll say this too. Here's another reason why these dirt sheet guys can't stand me is because I do the show with Russo. And Russo's out there doing castrating the marks,
right.
You know, painting pictures of the dirt sheet. You know, I'm associated with that. So it's like, and Vince is just doing all this stupid shit, and puppets, So it's like, so I'm getting the residual heat from that. You know?
Yeah, 1,000%, and from the WrestleZone days too.
Right.
But was I on there before you, or were we on there?
I was on first. I know. I got you the gig.
Oh, you were the one that got me. Yeah, bro. I used to bury everybody, Joe. Am I right or not, Di?
You buried everybody. That's back when you were mean. We actually had an argument. We had a show where we debated the fall of WCW.
Yeah, it's still on YouTube.
It's still on YouTube.
You can still find it. Yeah. I'm gonna get Husey to claim it and put it under our banner.
That's because of stuff like that, Glenn. That's why we still do this show, because since way before then we've always had good chemistry. You know what I'm saying?
We're very opinionated too.
Yeah, and I ain't even afraid to tell you when you're wrong. Nothing.